Good morning, everybody. Dear students, our this audio visual lecture is the twisted and bent into the S shape, resemblance into the boat from the Greek word than 50 degree DC and more than 30 degrees is visible. Next. The supinated oblique, that is oblique view of the radial oblique. For the supinated oblique view of the wrist, the hand resting on the ulnar side of the film cassette and it tilted approximately 30 to 35 degrees. It detects proximal pole fractures, humpback deformity and avulsion fractures. Next. This is the semi-pronated view or oblique 45 degree ulnar oblique view, that it detects the oblique sulcus, waist and tubercle fracture. Next. Ulnar deviation or PA view. So it is very commonly used. The scaphoid pat sign is the best visualized here. See, the two arrows are showing this and detect proximal pole fractures. Next. Jeter's view, it detects the waist fracture as a beam at the right angle to the long axis of the scaphoid. Next. Waist fractures. Here are the different fractures shown here. That is this is a waist fracture and this is the proximal fracture in the third view on the right side, while the tubercle fracture on the left side, and they are showing the red arrow is showing the fracture there. Next. CT permits the accurate anatomical assessment of the fracture. Bone contusion are not evaluated with CT, but the true fractures can be excluded. More sensitive and specific. Multiplanar and 3D reconstructions are possible. Also assess displacement of the fracture, malunion, non-union and bone loss. Lateral intrascaphoid angle normal is this, but more than 35 degrees is showing the displacement. Here the dorsal cortical angle is more than 160 degrees abnormal, and height to length ratio is normal is 0.60, while more than 0.65 is abnormal. Next. MRI. T1 weight images obtained in the single plane, that is coronal plane, are typical sufficient to determine the presence of the scaphoid fractures. The recent study of Dorsey has shown that immediate MRI provide cost benefit when compared to the spin test and repeat X-ray. Detect and suspected occult fracture and avian of the scaphoid by MRI. Next. Determine pre-op vascularity in diagnose scaphoid fracture. Acute fractures is a normal or decreased T1 intensity or increased T2 intensity. Low T1, T2 marrow signal intensity indicates poor vascularity. Next. Here the MRI showing a very clear-cut picture of the waist fracture of the scaphoid with the reduced blood supply in the distal proximal pole. Next. Bone scan is very sensitive but less specific. Increased osteocyte activity due to the trauma and will show a focal hotspot, but it is not available at many centers. Fracture is seen in about 95% of the non-osteoporotic patient within 24 hours. Negative bones can exclude the scaphoid fracture. Next. Classification. There are several classification systems available for the fracture of the scaphoid. One is Russell's classification, there is IO classification, Abbott's classification and Mayo's classification. Mayo classification is commonly used and it divides scaphoid fracture into the three basic types according to the anatomical location of the fracture line. First is the proximal third, that is 10%, middle third is, that is shown in the right side figure, 70%, and distal end is 20%. Fracture of the distal third are further divided according to the involvement of the distal articular surface of the or the distal tubercle. Next. Abbott's classification of Fisher's classification. Combined fracture anatomy and stability and chronicity of the injury. Type 1 is a stable acute fracture 31%. A1 is a fracture of the tubercle. A2 is incomplete fracture of the waist. Type B is an unstable or acute fracture in 69%. B1 is distal oblique fracture. Complete waist fracture is B2, while B3 is proximal pole fracture and transcaphoid perilunate fracture dislocation of the carpus B4, while B5 is the comminuted fracture. Type C is the fracture ununited after 6 weeks. Type T is the established non-union. D1 is a fibrous union and D2 is the pseudoarthrosis. Next. So these are the different figures according to the types they have shown. We can have this. Next. AO's classification, that is proximal pole fracture, waist fracture, distal pole fracture, and here again the B is there, comminuted fracture, proximal pole, waist and distal pole. Next. So what should be the treatment? So it is always a puzzle to treat the scaphoid fracture. So we are having an algorithm, that is suspected scaphoid fracture. So you, if there is a you give a slab, immobilize it, so that you do not ill treat the fracture, you increase the fracture. But after 10 days, if you again read X-ray it, and if there is no fracture, then you go for MRI, and abnormal signal case cast or ORRF. If the normal signal, then you know scaphoid fracture. But and coming to here, if there is a fracture, it is a displaced fracture, then ORIF is a definite thing. Appear indisplaced, then CT scan, displaced fracture, ORRF, and non-displaced fracture is cast is sufficient. Next. Treatment of the scaphoid fracture are determined by the displacement and stability of the fracture. Acute scaphoid fracture, non-displaced and stable fracture, non-operative treatment, that is by scaphoid cast. Displaced unstable fracture is operative treatment. Next. Scaphoid tuberculin fracture at distal pole, that is are infrequent, usually extra-articular with the good blood supply, best treated with the below elbow cast, immobilization for 4 weeks. After treatment, tubercle may show persistent displacement or fibrous union, but causes no disability. Next. Undisplaced and the minimal displaced waist fracture, most common type. Operative versus non-operative is controversial. Below elbow cast immobilization is treatment of choice for 6 to 8 weeks. Repeat X-ray every 2 weeks to look for the displacement. If displacement present, surgery is required. Bone consolidation taken 12 to 16 weeks. So see here the time, 12 to 16 weeks. So return to the sport and use of hand with the force is delayed for 4 to 6 months. Yeah. So cast immobilization, scaphoid cast versus Coleses cast. So for you it is you should see what is a scaphoid cast. So that cast is the include proximal phalanx of the thumb with the wrist in 10 degrees of flexion and radial deviation. That is called as glass holding position. Thumb is maintained in the functional position and the fingers are free to move with the MCP joint distally. Coleses cast, I do not recommend you for a scaphoid cast, Coleses cast. Next. That time of union increases to the for the proximal fracture. If the collapse or angulation of the fracture fragment occurs, surgical treatment is required. Next. Operative management, the operative versus non-operative treatment, high rate of delayed and non-union after conservative management. More recently, severe studies advocate use of early fixation and decreased time of union and superior union rate and early return to the function. Percutaneous fixation is superior to ORRF because blood supply is not damaged. With the advent of percutaneous technique of cannulated screws under fluoroscopic control trend towards the operative management. Next. Displaced unstable fracture management of ORIF with the orthoscopic assisted reduction and fixation. Choice of surgical procedure depends on the surgeon and preference and experience. Conservative treatment has 4 times higher risk of non-union and preferred in the elderly with the significant comorbidities. Also has high risk of redisplacement and osteoarthritis. Indication for surgeries are a Haber type B fracture, displaced scaphoid waist fracture B1, B2, proximal pole fracture B3, fracture associated with the carpal instability and dislocation, that is B4, and comminuted fracture, that is B5. Mayer's criteria जाओ दे. The next. Management of the proximal pole fracture. Next. Here this is called as a Heberton screw. So this is called as Heberton screw. Its speciality is there is no head for it. Method of fixation, K-wire, AO cannulated screw, Heberton screw, Hebert screw, Hebert Whipple screw, Accumade Accubrat, synthetic long threaded screw, and striker twin fix. This is striker twin fix. Headless screw. Advantages: reduces time for external immobilization. Headless screw remains below the bone surface. The removal usually is unnecessary. Can be used with the bone graft to correct the scaphoid angulation. Contraindication is avascular crumbling of the proximal pole of the scaphoid. Extensive trauma or osteoarthritis involving the adjacent carpal and articular surface of the radius. Gross carpal collapse and severe osteoporosis. Here it is seen how it is fixed. Surgical approaches next. Surgical approaches next. Next. Wound closure next. Complication. So most important and common complication of the scaphoid, or which is a dangerous complication, is non-union. Second is avascular necrosis. Malunion is usually not that common, and OA of the radiocarpal and intercarpal joint is also common. Next. So here we should seeing the non-union of the scaphoid fracture at the west. See the smooth fracture ends and no sclerosis around it. Next. Non-union of the scaphoid and non-union of the scaphoid fracture are influenced by delayed diagnosis, gross displacement, associated injuries of corpus, impaired blood supply. 40% of the scaphoid fracture are undiagnosed at the time of injury. Displaced fracture, that is non-union rate, is 92%. For incidence of osteonecrosis is 30 to 40%, occurring most frequently in the proximal third fractures. Next. Non-union of the proximal pole fracture depends on the blood supply to the proximal pole, size of the fragment. Non-union among the proximal pole, there is good blood supply, then non-vascularized bone graft. Poor blood supply, then vascularized bone graft. Next. Blood supply is determined preoperatively by the Gadman MRI, this thing. Electrical and ultrasound stimulation found to be variable effectiveness. Bone grafting should be considered a better option than pulse electromagnetic field. Next. Degenerative arthritis is often seen after many years in the scaphoid non-union. So the radiographic features of the arthritis are radioscaphoid narrowing, scapulohumeral narrowing, cyst formation, pronounced dorsal intercalated segment instability. This is so-called scaphoid non-union advanced collapse pattern seen in the chronic scaphoid non-union. Next. Stages of scaphoid non-union: advanced collapse, then scaphoid fossa arthritis, and these are the 4 stages. Next. Classification of the scaphoid non-union, imaging technique. So widening of the imaging technique, widening of the fracture gap and cystic changes and fracture line sclerosis is indicative of diagnostic of the X-ray findings. CT scan bait assess to the non-union and alignment lateral intra-scaphoid angle, height to length ratio. MRI based diagnosis for AVN. Next. Goal of management: relieve symptoms, correct the carpal deformity, achieve union, and delay the onset of wrist arthrosis. Next. Following operation can be useful for non-union: traditional bone grafting, vascularized bone grafting, excision of the proximal fragment and distal fragment or entire scaphoid, radial styloidectomy, proximal row corpectomy, partial or total arthrodesis of the wrist joint. Next. Late complication. AVN of the scaphoid bone. It is a late complication, manifest as a chronic wrist pain and stiffness. MRI help in the diagnosis and assessing the early vascular necrosis. Treatment is vascularized graft. Scaphoid collapse, radioscaphoid arthrosis, and scaphoid excision with the capitolunate and tricuteral hamate fusion, and proximal row corpectomy. Next.